The rain fell like whispers against the old glass windows. Emma adjusted her hood and stepped out of the taxi, staring at the large Victorian house looming at the end of the street. It looked abandoned, yet a faint orange glow flickered inside. She hesitated before walking up the path, each step echoing on the wet stone. The note the agency gave her was simple: keep the baby monitor on. Do not go upstairs. Inside, the air smelled of dust and lavender. A woman in her 50s, Mrs. Halloway, greeted her with a strange calmness. "He sleeps upstairs. You'll stay down here, just listen," she said, pointing to the small monitor glowing on the kitchen counter. Emma nodded, uneasy. She had done night jobs before, but something about this place felt wrong. The walls seemed to absorb sound. The ticking of an old clock felt louder than her own breath. When the front door shut behind the woman, the silence grew unbearable. Emma turned on the monitor. Static filled the screen, then cleared to reveal a small crib in a dimly lit room. The baby slept soundly. She sat on the couch, trying to distract herself with her phone. But soon she noticed it. Tiny movements on the monitor. A shadow crossing the room. She froze. It wasn't the baby. Lightning flashed, briefly illuminating the hall behind her. No one was there. She looked back at the monitor, heart pounding. The crib was empty. She stood up, holding her breath. Maybe she took him downstairs, she whispered, though she knew she was alone. Then came the sound, a soft lullaby, faint but unmistakable, coming from the upstairs room. Emma gripped the monitor tighter. The camera showed the mobile above the crib spinning slowly, though no one had touched it. Her pulse quickened. She turned off the monitor, but the sound didn't stop. It was now in the hall closer. She could hear footsteps, small, rhythmic, like a child walking barefoot on wood. The song faded into a whisper, "Don't go upstairs." Emma backed away toward the door, trembling. The monitor flickered back on by itself. The crib appeared again. This time a dark figure stood beside it, tall, unmoving. Emma dropped the monitor, its screen cracking. The whisper turned into a voice deep and close. "Stay where you are, Emma." Emma stood frozen, her breath sharp against the heavy silence. The cracked monitor on the floor still emitted faint static, glowing weakly like a dying candle. She didn't want to look, but curiosity and fear were stronger than logic. She crouched, lifting the device with shaking hands. The screen flickered, then showed the crib again. Empty. The voice she'd heard seconds ago was gone. Only the ticking of that relentless clock filled the house again. She backed toward the front door, but when her hand touched the knob, it wouldn't turn. She twisted harder, locked from the outside. A chill crept down her spine. "Mrs. Halloway?" she called out. No answer. Only a soft sound echoed through the vents, like breathing, long drawn out and uneven. She grabbed her phone, but the signal was gone. Every bar had vanished. The rain outside had turned violent, slamming against the glass as if warning her not to move. Then the monitor came alive once more. This time it wasn't the nursery. The camera was showing her. Emma stared at herself, standing in the living room holding the monitor. Her reflection blinked, but she hadn't blinked. Her double on the screen tilted its head slowly, as though studying her. The air grew colder. Without realizing it, she started walking toward the stairs. The house seemed to breathe with her steps. Each floorboard moaned like something alive. When she reached the top, the hallway stretched longer than it should have been. Portraits on the wall showed faceless figures, eyes scratched out. The air was thick with rot and mildew. The nursery door was open, swinging gently. Inside, the crib was overturned, toys scattered across the floor. The wallpaper was peeling in strange patterns, almost forming letters. Emma moved closer. The shape spelled one word, "Stay." Suddenly the door slammed behind her. She screamed and ran to it, pounding with both fists. From the baby monitor, resting on the floor, a new voice whispered, not the deep one, but a child's. "You weren't supposed to come up here." The lights began to flicker. The mobile above the crib spun again, faster this time, as if caught in an invisible storm. Emma fell to her knees, crying. Then the child's voice spoke once more, clearer. "He's awake now." The closet door creaked open. Two tiny footprints appeared on the dusty floor, walking slowly toward her. The baby monitor switched views one last time, showing the same footprints, leading straight behind Emma. She turned. The last thing she saw was a pair of small, hands reaching from the darkness toward her face. The sound stopped as suddenly as it had begun. Emma's scream was swallowed by silence. When she opened her eyes again, she was lying on the living room floor. The lights were off, the storm outside had faded, and the monitor sat beside her blank. For a moment she thought she had dreamt everything, but the smell of damp wood and burnt wires said otherwise. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. This time there was a signal. 2:47 a.m. Only an hour had passed. She typed a message to Mrs. Halloway. "Something's wrong with the monitor." No reply. The clock ticked twice, then the phone buzzed. One message appeared, but it wasn't from Mrs. Halloway. It read, "Don't let him out." Emma's heart pounded. "Who is this?" she typed. The screen flickered. The same message repeated, "Don't let him out." She threw the phone on the couch, her pulse racing. Then she noticed something she hadn't before. Muddy footprints, small and wet, leading from the stairs to the center of the room. The monitor turned on again. The nursery camera was active, but the room looked different. The walls were clean, bright, like a photograph from years ago. A man and a woman were visible in the background, the same woman who hired her. They were standing over the crib, smiling. The man whispered something to the baby, then looked up directly at the camera. Emma froze. His eyes were black, endless. The image glitched and the couple vanished. Only the crib remained. A voice, faint but familiar, whispered through the static, "He's not supposed to be here." She turned toward the staircase. The nursery door upstairs was open again. This time, faint light glowed from inside, a soft golden shimmer. She knew she shouldn't go, but something drew her up. Each step felt heavier than the last. When she entered the room, it was empty again. Only the crib stood in the center, covered by a white sheet. Slowly she lifted it. Beneath it was not a baby, but a mirror. Her reflection stared back at her, pale and wide-eyed. Then the reflection smiled. "You stayed," it said in her own voice. Emma screamed, dropping the mirror. It shattered, and from the pieces came a wave of whispers, children's voices. Hundreds of them chanting softly, "Stay, stay, stay." She stumbled backward, knocking over the crib. The monitor downstairs turned on by itself. Its screen now showed the living room, empty, except for the front door, which was now wide open. Rain began again, pouring in through the doorway. Emma ran down, desperate to escape. But when she reached the door, the night outside was gone. Only darkness remained, a black void stretching endlessly. Behind her, the monitor whispered one last time, calm and final, "You shouldn't have looked after what was never alive." The screen went black.